Okie dokie. We seem to be live on our 23rd multiplayer test. And of course the sun's going right into the camera. So yay. Well, first off, happy holidays all. Thank you very much for joining us on this 29th of December, 2020, last stream of the year. I know a lot of people are waiting for this year to be over. I have to admit I am too. In any case, we do have some more improvements this week, as you might well imagine. And I will allow it to be a little bit more of a surprise. So without further ado, I'll get the server going. Let's see how this one works out. There you go.
Testing our audio. You sound good, Arthur.
Alright. Server is up.
Okay, I think we're okay.
Fair enough. Oh, I didn't put out the
Before we start, did you turn off the debug?
I did turn off the debug, but I didn't send out the Twitter thing that, hey, we're live kind of thing.
Yeah.
I always forget that. That's why I'm not a very good social media manager.
Or none of us social media savants.
Yes.
I'm a failure to my generation.
Alright, Paul said he was going to be back in a little bit, and who's left? Or should we just go in with what the three we have?
Looking, there's just more graphics to load.
Okay. There you go. Alright then. So we'll go in.
I'm also doing a Facebook.
Yeah. So, what people may have noticed is that there's something coming out of your rear butt, Jordan. Not sure if you see it on others or if you notice it.
Well,
did we all pick the same ship?
sure did.
Yeah. We probably should have picked different ships because that would have actually been a little more interesting.
Well, you know, if you give me a few minutes, we'll build some new ships.
Yeah.
But I need to really go through the tech list and write some things down so that I make sure that I'm writing in the tutorial properly.
Fair enough, fair enough. So if you noticed, we now have what we refer to as engine flare.
Looks pretty cool.
And so here's the thing about the engine, especially in this game. It only fires when it needs to. You know, in most games, sort of like, oh, it'll just fire all the time, and that's not really how it works. You do controlled burns. So what it does is, so for example, I guess this is this is Adam. So Adam, would you demonstrate the afterburner for us, please? Now, if you notice, Adam is able to be seen. So I'm noticing more of Adam with the afterburner than not. Now he just cut his afterburner. Um, so Adam, if you could park it, I want to show them what it looks like with normal thrust versus not normal thrust.
Okay, let me slow down.
Yeah. Okay, get to where you are. And I'm going way too fast, as usual. So interestingly enough, when you afterburner, it goes brighter, but you can actually see your own stuff. Yeah, I gotta slow down.
I don't quite know if it's quite perfect that you can see your own, as you said, butt flare on the front of your ship, but it sure is pretty.
Well, it is appropriate. If you got that much flame coming out your butt, you're gonna produce a lot of light. So, and if the light source is behind you, then that's where it's coming from. So, I see you, Adam. Could you turn towards the base so we can actually see your butt? I never thought you'd that come from me. Okay, so
It's only a matter of time.
I suppose it would be. I'm getting lonely. So, Adam, if I don't bump into you because I'm a little bit too close, if you could cut your thrusters completely.
Yeah, I think these are just the positional thrusters trying to keep me in the air. I actually have everything cut.
Nose your nose down a little bit so that there we go. So now your rear. What it does is there's a difference between your anterior thrusters and your main thrusters. The thrusting that you see coming out the back only represents your rear thrusters. So if you notice, when Adam puts his nose down, the anti-inertials are firing, so you don't actually see the rear flames coming out. However, if Adam, as he so nicely does it, points upwards, the rear thrusters are firing. So Adam, if you can, go level. And since they're firing a little bit, and then do like a full afterburner. If you notice, not only is it brighter, but the flames go that much further out. Now, what's fun is that different models actually have different flames out the back. So what's interesting about this one is this has 3 engines. So, okay, when there's flame coming out the back, there's actually 3 different flame types, if you will. So there's one central one, and there's 2 very flat ones. That's the way I have it set up. And again, it's too bad we don't have all the other models out, but we soon will. If we can, I'd like to make some cheap and cheesy designs, nothing expensive, so we can just kick it out quickly. So again, I notice that, again, the new light sourcing system is active so that when there's flames, you light up like a Christmas tree, as you would expect by having that much flame coming out your butt. It's either that or Taco Bell, one of the two. And that was not a paid advertisement. So, I'm not 100% sure I have the lighting position correct, but it's about 90% of the way there. It's either one way or there's the other, but it's doing the job. What's interesting is these days I use my lasers to act as a flashlight when I can't see something. You know, because I just light it up. So, now, the other big thing is the engines themselves and stuff like that will change color based on what's in Adam's tech web. So when we actually get some new ships out, although I think all the new ones are using the same coloring. Does any of them have a more distinct coloring there, Adam? That we should go for as far as an engine goes?
Not until you hit Tier 2, Tier 1. Tier 1 thrusters will look plasma blue, and Tier 2 thrusters will look sort of lightly yellow. So you need to tech up first.
Jordan, is that something you're upset about?
But
Right. So
I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm literally writing down like tech items and tech stuff so that I can put it properly because I know I made mistakes.
fair enough. Fair enough. Now we don't have any enemies out here. I don't know if that's a thing, but I figure if we can get a factory up really quick, I mean, don't worry about so much about the research stuff. Just get some stuff kicked out. So let's go into the design system and get some designs of all the new ones that are valid.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a factory out.
All right. So if I go in here, okay. So all I really care about is something that's very weak, but has the... And I haven't even tested some of these things yet. So I am just literally just using the ones that I know I've changed. Okay, save. These are all the same name because it's all the same design. Oh, I shouldn't have left the Cube of Evil in there. I should put that back in the textures, but... Oh, actually, that's right. It still needs it that way. So, other than this one, and... I did that twice. That one.
Okay,
All right.
there's 2 factories.
All right, thank you, sir.
I'm gonna do some research. I'll try and see if I can, in fact, get you those upper end thrusters so you can see the different colors.
Sweet. So, Matt, how do you delete the design again? Because I'm clicking on it and nothing's highlighting.
It's not highlighting, it should be highlighting.
Yes, I agree with that.
You should be able to highlight it and then just hit the trash can icon. I will make a note to look into that.
Okay. And I'll put one here. All right, could you give me lots of money? So all the stuff I just kicked out. And none of these have armor. Yay! Can I put the armor on these things?
There you go, 1,000 RMs.
Thank you. So I'm going to possess this thing. Not sure if I'm even moving. Did I make this that bad? I probably did because I didn't do anything with it. Supposedly I'm moving, but I'm still stuck here. Okay, I think I made really horrible designs. Yeah, I think the designs I just made were really, really, really horrible. It's interesting as they're coming out of the factory, though, because they're thrusting to get above things. Let's see if I can get into one of these others. Actually, let's see. And we possess it. And can I actually move? Not really. I can turn. So would it make more sense for other people to possess these things so that we can actually view it on the live stream?
Would.
Although, interestingly enough, from what I remember, you can actually sort of push these guys, and it will, because you're moving it out of position, it actually tries to alter thrust to itself. Okay. So I'll go back to my original ship so I can be the eyes and ears and things. Alright. So this is the beam, this is the pulse ship that we usually use. You can see how it seems to be running.
Note, Arthur.
Yes.
Either it's very dim and hard to see, or the flames aren't really showing up from the nav screen.
That's because I didn't put the code in to have them show up on the nav screen at all.
Okay, just making sure you're aware.
Yep, no, I only got this running last night.
Fair enough.
So I put the lights in this morning, and so it doesn't surprise me as far as the renderer. I didn't put it in the nav screen renderer yet. I was like, it's always something.
I'm back now, by the way.
So I had two choices. I could either work on lighting or work on make sure it works on the nav screen.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, if someone would be so kind as to hop in one of the other ships that is here.
I am in one of them.
I see Adam. There's a Matt. Let's get him on the camera. And if you notice on this guy, he's got twin engines. Matt, if you would the afterburner, please. It's very strange. Of course, you afterburner after you moved out of camera view.
Sorry.
Alright. Alright, hit your afterburner again. Okay, for whatever reason, when you hit your afterburner, your flames go out. Are you... So you're afterburning right now, you're saying?
Correct. I'm afterburnering right now.
Okay. That's very, 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 very strange. Alright, could you... Well... Alright, why don't you stop? And then... When I say go, hit your afterburner. How's that?
Give me 1 minute. I've got a lot of velocity to shed here.
Yes, you do. Well, one way or the other, at least when you're firing your thrusters, you can kind of, from the front viewport, see whether or not if you're working or not.
Okay. And stop. Ready when you say go.
Alright, so what should happen is your flames should elongate when you afterburn. So if you would be so kind as to hit it. Alright, you're in the afterburner?
I did. I'm
Are
at
you...
almost 1,000.
Alright, well, that's broken. That shouldn't... How come it works on the one that... So now you're really... Well, that's just the beams, I guess. That's very strange. Okay, well, I guess it's broken on that ship. I'll have to keep that in mind.
I will make a note of it.
Yep. I see the flames coming out the back. It's just the afterburner should extend it, and instead it just seems to turn off. So I see the flames coming out the back of you right now. So if you hit afterburner, what happens? Yeah, they turn off. That's very strange. And with Adam, they extended out on the other things. It shouldn't be the code. Ah, the mysteries of new code. Isn't always the way. So there's Adam. So Adam, if you would park it for a second, I want to see if it works the same way with you.
Okay.
Okay, so you're one of the newer ships. Actually, one of the older ships that I put the stuff in, but yeah. So nose your nose down so we can see that. Okay, so that goes out. So if you go back horizontal, so it's using your butt again. All right, now hit afterburner. Yeah, it lengthened, and there he goes. Okay, I don't get it, and I'm looking at you now, Matt. Could you hit your afterburner again, please? And yours just go out. It's the same code. Yeah. It doesn't know what ship it's on. It doesn't know anything about things. It should just work universally. It should always work or all not work. And yet, here we are. Yay.
Presumably you had to add a light source. Is it possible it's pointing to the inside of the ship?
Well, that's the thing. The light source is a whole different issue. The light source and the flame you're seeing are two separate objects. Because they have to be. They're actually part of two different systems, actually. So I wouldn't be surprised that your light source is perfectly fine and the flames aren't. But I can always put something in the monitor to that. So if you can put in your notes the fish ship, excuse me, not the fish ship,
Stingray.
Is that what's... We actually need to come up with good names for these new ships. I think it's
I
Fighter
have
2.
a note about
What's that?
it looks kind of like a Falcon to me, but I have a note about it.
Okay. Yeah, that... Now the hope is that these, between the light sourcing and everything else, that a lot of the realism that we've been missing, we're adding in here. So here's another ship that's, because it's pointing nose up, the rear end is just sort of keeping it in place. As you can see it on the live stream, we have 3 separate engines all going crazy here. And as we've seen, that if the rear engines aren't firing, then it isn't firing. Now, the thing I don't quite get, and I'll have to look in the code about this, the thing about the way the code operates as far as the engines go, it does full thrust to maintain what you want to do. So when you say, oh, I want to do 1/3 thrust or 2/3 thrust, once you get up to speed, the rear thrusters aren't firing anymore. Your inertia just carries you. And the system is built that it does the full thrust it can to get you up to speed that you requested as quickly as possible, because you're a fighter. You know what I mean? You want maneuverability. So that's kind of the problem. Originally, when I was doing the code, it was kind of almost an all or nothing kind of situation, and that wasn't all that helpful as far as visually goes. So I have something that makes the flames die down versus just arbitrarily turning on and off. And I do have the afterburners show out about 50% to twice as much as they were beforehand. So now you're seeing at least what I've been working on the last couple weeks. Now the good news is the flames are part of what I refer to as the greeble system that's now in the engine, which means running lights. That means obviously special effects like the flames in the back. Decals will be next, meaning insignias on your ship. So stuff like that is the intention, and it'll all be part of the greeble system. But now the infrastructure's there. This should be relatively easy to add all these things. I added literally the light sourcing that you're seeing here this morning, because the light sourcing infrastructure was already in the system. So to add light sources for this took me a few hours, and I was done. Most of what I did this morning, as far as time goes, was tweaking, reading of the proper colors from the tech web, or, I didn't like how it was flickering on and off. Now, if you look closely, the engines themselves actually do flicker. I mean, the light does. So if I go up to, I guess this is what, Jordan's? Let me stop here.
No, I'm back in the city. That's somebody.
Yeah. So I push this person. Well, alright, I'll just use them as a stopgap. So I'm pushing against them, but you can see my afterburners flickering on him. It's meant to be subtle, it's not meant to be, like, super ridiculous, but it's definitely not steady. And obviously it's using the same kind of flickering I do for the building beams. Just not as dramatic. But, so yeah, I mean, I think that the engine flare came out very well. So now the next real question is, tell us when you have the next tier of engines so we can see a different color.
I'm working on it. I'm not quite certain where they are, honestly.
I would think they would be under propulsion.
I did propulsion 2.
Yeah.
But that by itself did not appear to have unlocked anything, so now I'm also running power 2.
Okay.
I'm also working on the research lab, so this will start going faster than it. But I'm not... Adam, do you know, like, which tech specifically the next level of thrusters is under?
Okay, 1 second.
And now another interesting thing is some of these models don't have circular engines. They have, flat engines, for lack of a better term. Well, because they are flat. And so when you look and you see how the engine effect comes out the butt, the actual flames are actually flat and then rotated to fit perfectly into the engine slots. which means that the artist can make whatever funky sci-fi fantasy thing they want to do, and the flames will look appropriate. So for the big triangular ships that most of us are flying in, at least when we first came into the game, you'll notice it has three, one circular, and two are flat.
All right. To get to the next level of drives, you want to have power 2 or propulsion 2.
Okay.
There you go, then.
We're getting there.
Now, the biggest problem I really had to do was, okay, the builder bot. The builder bot does not have an obvious exhaust port. And yeah, I could put flames on the bottom, but I don't think it would look right. And maybe it would look right. Maybe I should do another engine system for anti-inertials, and I'll have the builder bot mostly always use those versus the other way around. And maybe that's the thing. I don't know. But I think with the lighting...
Ion engine. Okay.
What's that?
We're getting there. Sorry, I was commenting that. I'm like, yes, I see. We're getting there then.
Yep, ion engines are the next tier up.
Okay. Then the answer is soon.
Soon. Now, interestingly enough, he's being lit up by not only his own engines, but my engines too, since I'm hovering here. So if I actually turn and look, there he is. Alright, I cut my engines, so I'm just hovering. So one of these flames was looking at straight on, the other one we're looking at sideways. So ironically, since I'm pushing it, he doesn't have to use his engines to keep in place. So the engines turn off. So far, what are the opinions of the new engine flare system?
They look very good.
Any
Cool.
any constructive criticisms?
I think a little bit more animation would probably make them look a little bit more realistic. I'd say.
Define animation.
As in right now, when you get really close to them and you kind of look at them, you can see them definitely kind of basically like flickering.
Well, they're meant to flicker.
So it's basically it's not like a smooth transition where it's basically like if you actually like watch a campfire, the way that looks, these don't feel the same thing.
Right. It does. I see what I'm saying. It looks a little bit more like a light turning on and off, and less like a variance in a fire.
Yeah, I think as a result of that, basically, like when you get really close to it, it looks like effectively you basically took like two sort of elongated like ovals, not ovals, but basically two like ovalish shapes, one inside the other, and then basically sort of mapped the texture to that and had them basically sort of flickering on and off on that shape. Is that about right?
Well, that's special effects for you in video games.
Yeah.
Now, the texture itself is procedurally generated within the shader. Because I couldn't use what Paul gave me directly. Also, even the texture mapping positions are generated within the shader, because again, I couldn't use what was given. Because then you'd have seams and all that. But the actual mesh was done by Paul. But like I said, unless you're sitting there staring at it, you're not going to notice or care.
Yeah, you'd only really notice if you were basically like very close to the other ship and following like directly behind them for an extended period of time, which will probably happen during dogfights.
Well, should we try that out? Let's get into a dogfight and see what it looks like.
Okay.
Shall I put that on my incoming to-do list of like a more engine flare designs meshes?
I don't know what would you do. I mean, you gave me several versions of it, and the re-enclosed one is one I use, the one with the oval inside the oval, so to speak. What else would it be?
Right. Just wondering.
You know, I have the system so you can flatten out the burner. So who am I firing? It'd be nice if someone was actually telling me before they start shooting me. So who's fighting who?
I mean, I'm firing a bit randomly, but I'm too far away to actually do any damage to anybody.
Okay.
We have ion engines and ion thrusters.
Alright, then let's get one of those coming out the door. Let me go into the factory and I'll do a quick design on that.
What is engines and what is thrusters in design?
Engines are the main thrust or the main things.
And then thrusters.
Thrusters are the anti-inertials, which are all over the place.
Gotcha. Okay. Let me make.
All right. Let's do. Yeah, why not? All right. So for the main engine, we want ion engine, right?
Yep.
Okay. There's gonna be another weenie ship because I want it to come out really quick. I'll give it 2 guns just because I can.
A weenie ship with a really cool engine.
Something like that, yes. Save.
Find out in a minute that we can't power it.
You might be right. Is that the new one? Yeah, it says ion. So I'll be out in 3. Or 20 seconds or so. Oops, and I am flying away from the base. That's not helpful. So much for me, Well, the cool thing is that by being close to the ground, my engines are letting up the ground. So there you go. Okay, so the new guy just popped out. Let me get the camera on him effectively, which means me. Because someone be so kind as to possess the brand new ship. I guess someone did. Alright. Alright, park it. Let me get close. But we definitely have a very different rear plume. Alright, would help if I actually selected him as a target. That's Adam. Alright, Adam. If you would be so kind to afterburner, so let's see what this looks like. Yeah, not so much. Okay, you can kill the afterburner. I don't know how much the lengthening is really happening. I'll have to look into that code. But we already know that there's like problems with different things anyway. So nose down, so that the engines go away. Alright. And so nose up again, if you would, please. There you go. And so we have different color engines now. And that's completely controlled within the tech web itself. So these are definitely a blue-white versus red-white, if you know what I mean, of the other engines. I'm not sure how much everybody else is seeing this.
I'm watching it on the live stream mostly, but yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. So that means that the more creative you get with the coloring there, Adam, the more interesting the engines will end up being. And you can tell more what everybody's doing, and it's very much based on the hulls that you select, and therefore what the engine flame looks like, and then of course the engines you actually have. So the idea is that, again, if you end up in a situation where, oh, what are they using as engines because the coloring looks very different,
I think it also, like, from the nav screen perspective, even if I can't see it on the nav screen yet, the theory, like, looking at the stream of being like, oh yeah, I researched that and I changed the color of our engine flare.
Yeah.
I made that option happen is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know we were discussing earlier today about like how like some of the engines look like they were pink, and it's sort of like, well, white to red is pink. That's the in between. You can't get away from that's kind of how pink comes to be. It's red and white, but they're not as pink as they were. A lot of the other special effects I intend to do, like particles on fire and things of that nature. I mean, that's kind of coming. I do think that because of the other things that we talked about earlier in the week, or last week, I should say, about the nav screen, I'll try to get those in by Thursday so we actually can say what that actually feels like. And then we can make discussions from there. And then I'll go to the next thing. So for visualization things, I guess either I can do decals on ships, or I can do placement on grounds, meaning actually doing the a much cleaner, more polished way of placing buildings.
I mean, my vote's on that one, naturally.
All right, well, I'm bringing it up. And then there is putting decals, meaning insignias, on the ships themselves, which should be much easier to do, honestly. So, Matt, which of those things interests you at all? Just so you don't have to constantly work on the tutorial.
I don't know. I have to think about it.
Okay. Well, that was the main new feature today, was the engine flare special effects. The idea is that we're trying to polish the game so that, one of the main complaints we've gotten from a lot of people was that, it doesn't, hold a candle to a modern day.
One thing actually makes it look way more modern. Like, the more I think about it, like, it has flames now, and it's sort of like you'd think that almost wouldn't matter, but now that I'm looking at it, it totally matters.
It does totally matter. It's none of these things were necessarily hard. They were just. It's the bane of any indie developer, is that you don't have the time and budget to do the small things. And lighting is one of those situations. Putting engine flares on the back of ships is another thing. It's all these small things that we've been skipping because, bigger things need to be accomplished. But now we pretty much realize, okay, we can't ignore this stuff anymore. We got to address it. And so here it is.
It looks better. It looks modern.
Yeah. So we were talking about getting into a dogfight. So who wants to do that? Adam, you just want to be you and I, and I'll just repair both of us, and we'll go at it. Sure. Although I should probably get. Well, both of these ships kind of suck. I mean, call it what it is. I guess it doesn't really matter if we're just dogfighting.
You guys have shields.
Yeah, that too.
You'll have better power sources fairly soon.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm tracking on Adam. So Adam, I guess he's going to try to get away. Although, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks good, Adam, because I mean you're barreling away, and I really see your flames, but I don't see the detail that you were so worried about. I mean, it's like if you look at a lot of special effects in a lot of games, if you get a chance to sit there and look at it up close and statically, you can definitely see how they did it. Wow, that's really cool, Adam. Because your butt's close to the ground, your butt's lighting up the ground, and it's all bright white and such. No, I do think that the you have a big longer range than I do. No, yeah, the engines definitely make it. Like I said, all the upgrades that I expect from Paul's additions to the other screens and stuff like that. I am really looking forward to his update to the asset screen that he showed us the other day, or the other week, I should say. At this point,
I am happy to say that I've been solving the issue with the bloom going crazy on the glassy textures, so I'll have those things coming up.
Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. What? Yeah, you got a very pretty ship there, Adam. I'll give you that.
If you want, I can put the asset screen elements to like my top priority and get those out to you as soon as I can. I've been focusing on the factory screen.
That is completely up to Matt. What he wants done first. Basically, we should do things at a time. Whatever's the easiest to do, admittedly, but in the end, that's what kind of matters and counts. Adam, I don't know how much damage you're doing to me because I think these are one of the original ship designs. You don't think you're doing that much damage to me?
Yeah.
Because you definitely had your chance, and admittedly, my beams don't seem to be doing a hell of a lot of damage to you either.
I didn't research it. You didn't put on any new ones and didn't research them yet.
Yeah, no, I just did. I just want to see what a dogfight looked like.
Yeah.
And I think on the live stream wise, it looks pretty nice. I mean, having those engines come out and then turn up and down and stuff like that, because they used to flicker on and off.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially when you turn around and they go out and that kind of thing, because you see you turning and that kind of thing. It's really, it's something.
Weird problem that I didn't really think about until just now. It also makes it way easier to tell if they are away from you or towards you.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
No. I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. It's just sort of like I never thought about how much of a pain it was trying to figure out if my enemy was actually facing me until it became obvious whether or not they were.
Yeah, and then you have a situation where in this case, I can see if he's paralleling me, meaning if he's going at me sideways.
Right.
And because his engines are flaring because he's trying to do something. And sort of like, that's actually pretty nice. And even at a distance, you can sort of see the flickering at a distance. It's almost like a star. And then he comes back around, and you can't see it because he's coming towards you, but it's sort of like, yeah, that's the thing. Now, here's the beauty. Paul, you can go into the ship shader program that I was mentioned, and you can make these engine plumes as big or as small as you want. So you can make them grossly ridiculous or not, and the system doesn't care.
I missed the earlier explanation. How do I get them to like stretch so that they look like they're coming from like a flat vent kind of engine?
In the ship shader, you can actually tell it to scale the flame itself. So you can make it longer, you can flatten it out, and then there's another thing to rotate it so it will fit perfectly within the engine crevice, if you want to call it that.
Nice.
Hence, so you can do flat flames versus just, circular flames. And so as long as you made the original, something that's manipulatable like you did with the ovals, it's not a problem. And as you can see the result.
Nice.
So yeah, no, it is actually kind of sweet. I love how that came out. There's also a thing called slide, which is another control I added, so you can actually take the oval and embed it inside the ship, because you have it come to a point, and sometimes it doesn't quite look right. But if you shove that inside the ship, you don't see what doesn't look right anymore, if you know what I mean. And so then it comes out much, much better, and that's what you're seeing now, as an example. Yeah, the problem is, for those looking at the live stream, both Adam and I have armor and weapons that are not appropriate for this battle, so we're not doing a whole hell of a lot to each other. Also, I've been talking more than killing him, so I mean, that's been a thing. Yeah, so the problem is this thing has no juice, so I'm firing and I'm running out of power. And so therefore I'm really not doing any damage. I think I'm very close to actually doing some actual real damage to him. Oh, and he got my engines. That's so much for that. Now I can't turn. That must be my anti-inertials.
Your
Now,
engines or your inertials?
well, I'm dropping like a rock, so you got my anti-inertials. You can't vector thrust me otherwise.
You can still be able to afterburn though, right?
I don't know. That's a good question. Can I? Yep, I'm afterburnering.
Just so you know, when you're afterburnering now, I'm not seeing any engine flare.
I'm seeing the light.
I'm not actually seeing the actual flare behind your butt though.
Okay, I gotta look into that. Matt, if you can make a note of that I'm afterburnering, but it's not.
Which ship are you on?
I'm in the triangle ship. So he got my anti-inertials, but I can't turn. But I can still afterburner. And I'd love. I know as you see in the live stream, but as like Adam goes across me, I see his white butt, his white blue butt, like make my front glow as he goes across. It's actually pretty cool. So you shoot your lasers before I see your afterburn. Okay, I'll heal myself because I can.
Well, if you guys really want to play now, we have better engines and better lasers. But still the same armor, so you should be able to really wreck each other.
Right.
That's probably true too.
Do we have any designs up?
We have to make them, I think.
I've been doing them.
So, should we restart the game so Paul can join in, and more importantly, we'll have enemies versus just us showing each other off?
Okay.
Sure, we'll do a round with them.
Well, I mean, we didn't really do that last time, so I figured, you know what, let's do a full thing and see what a real battle looks like, if you know what I mean. Alright, I will exit out, and I will come back in, and I'll see when the server's up, and yeah. Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to get all these remaining, the small stuff that shows that there's polish, if that makes sense. I mean, everybody was always asking for a vertical slice. It's like, it's hard to just get a vertical slice. You know, it's not really built that way. Or could, you know, I guess you could go, oh, here's a status screen and say, hey, we'll have the rest of the game looking like that status screen. That doesn't make any sense, does it? So how do you do a vertical slice in this case? Even as I add things to the main game. All right, server's up, by the way.
Launching now.
It's still not really a vertical slice. Because if you do the space combat, then you're talking about the entire game. Okay. Yeah, that's always been the problem I always had with this kind of thing. Is at what point is it a vertical slice? Because it's never really done. I need to put like an atmosphere shader in, for example. The decals and different things. Showing that when you get hit, or your armor is breached, or an item blows up as you're on fire, and you stay on fire.
I mean, eventually on planets that have atmosphere, we'll want to hear the sound of thrusters.
That too. Now, the audio thing is a whole separate thing. And that's is something that I wanted to address so that we can actually get the audio sliders working. Because the game that has more sound, I've purposely turned all the way down because it drowns everybody else out on the live streams when I don't do that.
Ready.
Alright then. Let's hope the randomized enemy will be smart about things.
Well, did you fix the glitch that lets him just build infinite ships?
Yeah, that was fixed a long time ago. Now that's interesting. The Pulse ship has a white thing because he doesn't have a known. That design must have been built long before the additions of the lighting that I asked Adam to do. So his engine flare is white, completely white, which is how I have the system set. That if it doesn't know what to do with itself, it just makes it white. And there he goes. So there you go.
Already shot our builder bot a little like.
There, how's that? Did you shoot their builder bot? I didn't mean to. Don't worry, I just healed everybody. What's that?
Does the builder bot have engine flare?
It does not. One, because I haven't done anything with the model. Two, I didn't know exactly where to put it. All these other fighters have very obvious rear thrusters.
True.
The bot doesn't. It's a drone. And it's sort of like, well, if we come up with a good answer for anti-inertial flare, I'll do it. What's that?
How does it function in space? Hush you.
Hush you, yes. What I can do is I can put engine flares on the bottoms and just have it as a greeble rather than have it adjust. So won't be as ridiculously long as what's on these fighters, but they'll be there constantly showing that they're firing, if that makes sense. So I don't know if that's good or bad. You know, should it be something that's always there? Should it be something that's only when it's firing is anti-inertial, which is basically all the time, so therefore it's going to be always there? You know, that kind of thing. I mean, what do we do about that?
I mean, that sort of makes sense.
Okay. I mean, I can do that. The system does not care if you have 1 or 5 engines or whatever. It doesn't really care. It's as many as you want. I mean, even for the special effects, I mean. So yeah, and I can make them very short, and I can tie it to the anti-inertials. And so if you blow out the anti-inertials, then the engines will cut. Maybe that's a thing to do with that. I don't know. So the lighting from the engine flare, do you think it's too much, too little?
Honestly, I think it's kind of in that just right.
Okay,
Yeah.
sweet.
The lighting map feels pretty good.
All right, that's good.
I'm noticing that the engine flares don't seem to show up in the nav screen.
They do not.
Yeah,
Right.
we talked about that.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
yeah. I didn't have time to put in the linkage code in there to have it show up. It's not hard to do. It'll probably take me about 10-15 minutes, but it's 10-15 minutes I didn't have. I literally put the light source code in this morning, and I got the engine flare code running last night, and then I had to tweak it because I wanted to flicker a little bit, and then it looked really dumb when the engines would start and stop, because it would be all and then disappear, all and disappear. Now, if you notice when they disappear, they fade out. You know what I mean? They don't just disappear. Now, I have it going very quickly, as you might well imagine, but because the original one, it actually took several seconds for the engines to die down, and it didn't quite look right. So right now I have it disappearing in about a second, and that looks kind of nice. But I don't know if people want to see it be quicker or shorter, but to me I thought it was kind of nice looking. But I'm open for suggestions. I mean, I'm looking at this on the live stream. I don't know who's flying that, but I mean, it looks very pretty. And of course, he's lighting me up as I'm going past. Here, and I love how the back of you is all lit up. Now that's a screenshot, actually, with the back of the ship lighting you up from the back, and you can see the stream, the flame behind you. You know that's a thing.
Can somebody adjust my budget? We're about to have our mine. Tell
I
me
just
need more money.
froze.
I just froze as well. Who
Give me
crashed?
one moment to
Crash
figure out
desktop
where.
here.
I'm somewhat frozen.
Well, the server's frozen. Everybody else is going to freeze too. Matt, you said there's a problem?
Yes, there's a crash. I'm recording it now.
Okay, where was it?
Decode for ship stats. There was a null layout.
Oh boy. All right. Did anyone make the design, or that came from the other end?
I didn't do any kind of design work. I was just flying around in what I started in.
That's probably the AI. We really didn't do very much with testing the normal stuff last time. Now, is that universal? Everybody's dead, or I mean, everybody's frozen right now. Matt, could you exit out and come back in since you got the same crash?
I bombed out.
I have that weird frozen state where ships are still moving, but you know they're not doing commands or anything. But I don't.
Well, basically, until the last person actually exits the game, it freezes the server.
I mean, I can exit. I don't seem to be crashing.
No, if you're actually moving, you're not the problem.
Okay.
Although I'm surprised you're not locked up yet, to be honest. So is everybody else out at this point?
Yeah, I'm on the desktop.
All right, who's not out? So everybody's at desktop right now. So what's what you're saying? Hello?
I am rebooting the game. So
Adam, where are you at?
been out.
All right. In this case, I was writing a log entry. All right. All right. I'm in a weird. Hold on a second.
Up.
What's up?
That I'm still not even locked up or anything.
It's in an infinite loop. Okay. S2. It's Did someone do something that's turreted?
I researched turrets. I didn't build any.
No, I mean on ships. I mean. What in the world? Hold on, I'm just looking at the code here. This is it's a mine ship. A mine went down and it went crazy on this. That doesn't make any sense at all.
It did happen right as I told it to build a mine.
Okay. Then that's what caused it. Why it would cause, because we've built mines thousands of times now, is beyond
And
me.
earlier this evening.
Yeah. Well, what's happening is an infinite loop. Yeah. See the substruct fan rend. So evidently something. I think what probably happened was something overwrote something and it went crazy, and it just this happened to be how it manifested itself. Oh my gods! So the log file that does per frame is megabytes, 1.4 gigabytes. Yes. Now that's a log file. That's a problem.
Did you just say gigabytes?
Yep. Because it was an infinite loop, and so it was constantly running out the log. So it was an infinite loop. Basically, it thought for whatever reason that the mine had like a turret planted on it, and it was constantly doing substructures, and it was like an infinite loop. So something went outside memory and slammed something and did something horrible. So yay. So obviously it had nothing to do with the main system. Something went outside of what it was supposed to and did it. I have no idea what happened and how it happened, and yay. Alright. So I'll wipe that out and we'll start all over. Oh. Okay. That was even in the... Okay, that's just wrong on so many levels. Oops.
So we're just starting a new server?
No. I probably should have a look to see how... We didn't go that far into it. How many minutes in were we?
I don't even know. It was barely any. Maybe 4?
Alright, we'll do autosave 2 and see if that's where we left off. Or autosave 1, actually. Because that would be 4 minutes in. Multiplayer autosave, 4 minutes. Alright. So server's back up. So from the looks of it, you have a refinery, a warehouse. Surprised you don't have mine out first. Or is that just kind of how you
I
like
put
to
the
roll?
refinery out first because if I run out of materials, it is faster for it to mine the ore and then have the refinery refine it so that it
Okay.
can build a mine than it is to the other way around.
Fair enough, fair enough. I assume you're back in because I see movement.
I'm not just yet.
Let's see who that is.
Am I clear to rejoin?
Yep. So that's Paul's. Paul was moving before things, yeah.
Back in.
Yep. There you go. And it crashed again.
I'm gonna guess it crashed when it tried to make a mine. That's what I just told it to do.
Hmm.
And
This
there was
crashed in weapon index. It was sending generic code. It was a ship. This was a corrupted ship.
So I just exit out then?
Yeah. Yeah, this whole thing's corrupt. I wonder if the new flame code's going outside of bounds or something? This is very strange. So what it was doing is it was sending a... Yeah, it was trying to send a... build SS. What kind of building is this? It's a corrupt building.
There was something a little weird when I was going to create that mine, actually.
So what was weird? Okay.
So when I hit build, the build menu, the mine model was like 4 times larger than all the other ones displayed.
Okay, then something's wrong then. Yeah, this is definitely from you though. Because I went through the code here and I'm going through, okay, who owns the builder bot, whatever, and it says Jordan! Jordan owns it. Okay. Tell you what, do you want to go back one save game and see if that makes a difference?
Yeah.
I'd hate to think that there's a... I mean, it's easy to say, it's like, well, what could I have done that could have possibly caused this kind of problem? And it's like, I don't know. While one side can say nothing I've done here should affect all these other systems, the other part that says that, well, if they're stomping outside the normal area, then it could easily cause these random problems. If you know what I mean. Alright, we're back in.
Ready?
Okay, so this is 2 minutes in versus 4 minutes in. And you're in the process of building a research facility. And that looks like you're building, what, a warehouse?
Warehouse, yeah.
In a normal testing situation, what I would normally do would be to get the save game that we know is going to cause problems, and then let it fail and see where it failed. And that's usually the easiest way to find these kind of bugs. Usually what Matt, Adam, and I do on Thursdays during our time to see what happened. Oh, he's running, because I'm going to see what they're doing over here. Okay. Let me not do that then. Alright.
Are we back in yet, or I'm
Yes,
sorry,
we're back in, Paul.
walk away?
And then it crashed.
Same crash I got before. A bad
Oh, that's gonna
layout.
crash me too. I mean, the last thing I told the builder about to do was build a mine, but I was in the research screen, so I didn't know how close it got to doing that.
This blew up on the yeah, this is constantly adding in bad substructs. Yeah, there's the mine.
Bizarre.
That's really epically bizarre. Something's coming into the mine system and stomping it. Yeah, this whole thing's all corrupt. But it's definitely a mine. So what you're saying is, alright, just for ha-has, we're going to start from pure scratch.
Good.
And we'll go through it and see what happens. you know, get the mine going, and all the rest of that stuff. I mean, if it's dead, it's dead. But I mean, you in single player.
Built 2 mines in the previous test.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. Now, mind you, we didn't have the enemy AI, but still.
That's really weird.
Was that? I couldn't hear you.
Is it just when there's an AI around?
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, if that's the thing, we haven't done that in about a month.
To be more general, I guess only when there's another faction.
Alright, well, system's up. Everybody wants to join in.
Joining now.
Yeah, if that's a problem, then we're definitely going to have to test that one out on Thursday and track down what's really happening. And of course, we didn't do our normal testing this time through because we figured, hey, why would we need to? You know how that one goes. I was doing graphical updates, nothing more. So, Matt, you coming in?
Yes, I'm just reloading.
Paul, you're going to mark yourself ready? There you go.
Sorry about that, yes.
Okay, starting up. Alright. Sorry about that.
Lol.
I do like how I can shoot across someone's bow and light them up like a Christmas tree. Actually, I was using it for my own testing. I couldn't see the ship because it was very dark, and so I was firing across their bows so I could light them up. Didn't have to shoot them with it, just had to light them up. Yeah. I'm glad that I found the equation for beam lighting. You know, line lights.
That is a very good effect, yes.
You know, that came out better than I had hoped. Now, Jordan, did you afterburner towards the bottom there just briefly?
Nope.
Okay, because I saw your thrust go and then go like twice as far, and I was like, okay, that's usually afterburnering.
I
like that.
the lighting from
That's
the
me
enemy.
going from 1/3 to 2/3.
Oh, okay.
But
Because you're accelerating. Yeah, because you're accelerating, and it's yeah. You're saying, Paul?
I was gonna say I like the lighting from the enemy builder bot as it makes stuff because like that makes it look like the enemy is up to something. Like it has an ominous like effect to it. Like
think you're up to something.
Yes. I know everybody hates the epileptic seizure-inducing thing it does, but you know, it's kind of a thing.
It just needs to be toned down just a little.
Probably.
I mean, we could. Is it doing the same thing that the engine flares do? I mean, is there a way to like texture that like ray that comes down, or like just more like detailed?
I have a whole thing that I'm going to change the building animation to be.
Okay.
That's going to be its own thing. I just haven't addressed it yet. I wanted to get this stuff going first with the engine. And more importantly, the greebling. See, here's the thing. I mean, if whoever's on the artist side wants to sit there and go into the system and start putting greebles on all the different silhouettes, meaning searchlights, decals, engine flare, you name it, it's now able to be done. So, even though not all possibilities are in the system yet, I got running lights running, but I wasn't impressed by that. But I figured out why I wasn't, because the equation was wrong. I figured that out when I was trying to do the engine stuff. I was like, oh, that's why it didn't come out very nicely. So I'll try to readdress that. So right now it supports the engine flare and running lights. I want to put on searchlights, which are basically spotlights, and decals would be another thing. But that I figure if Matt wants to do instead of you know more not trained, tutorial stuff might be something for him to do if he wants to. Just because the infrastructure is already there for it. Um, for those of you who don't know, Matt's one of the other programmers. Um, Generally, I do infrastructure level stuff, and Matt does the implementation of the infrastructure, if that makes sense. And that's been working out pretty decently.
You can blame me for the screens.
Well, and you can blame me for why the controls work or they don't work, or the weird nuances that they have. That you can completely blame me for. No, but I think it's a good distribution of priorities, if you will. Um, but it does make for boring coding to always do kind of the less fun stuff. Huh?
Telling it to build a mine now.
Oh gods. Alright. Go for it.
This is gonna be the most anticlimactic moment or most frustrating moment.
If it's frustrating, then that kind of calls it. Because if we can't even build a mine, then that's kind of it then. And gone will be the days where you can actually build this close, by the way. Now it's building it. I'm seeing it building it.
Yep. Okay, it's usually dead by now, so I think we're okay.
Don't jinx it. Still means there's a problem out there. It just means it's manifesting differently. That's the problem with a lot of these games. It's sort of like, okay, was it going to screw up this time?
Well, we'll have a better idea whether or not we're safe when the enemy builds their mine.
True. Now the funny thing is, I can't actually go over there to look, because if I do, I'll chase away their builder bot. So what I'll do is I'll actually go to the nav screen and look at it this way. Let's go figure. Oops. So using the Happy Dappy nav screen.
Honestly, actually, this was I've started to get the hang of trying to place the buildings much more accurately to where I'm trying to put them.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be a skill that had to be acquired.
Yeah. Although I do appreciate for myself how I managed to nestle them right in this little valley. I'm gonna try to put turrets on the peaks.
Oh, that's a thing. I mean, eventually the terrain will become more random's not the word, but more varied. So what it has right now is a reactor, a mine, a warehouse, and it's cranking out turrets. So until it gets a refinery and a factory up, we're pretty much. And yes, the bug has been removed if you don't have any infrastructure yet. You put up a factory, you can't just produce random ships. At least I'm pretty sure. Matt, didn't we fix that? I thought we fixed that like a couple months ago.
I think so. That sounds right.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a factory soon. I'm just getting one more reactor.
Okay.
There's no power loss. And you'll have access to shields and missiles.
Sweetage. So is the intention to actually play through? Which I guess it is the intention. So should we go like as if this was a real game, and basically go assault their city with ships that we will have built? I think that makes sense. So I will go into the factory screen, and I will make a design because I can. And I'm gonna fly.
I need a little more money allocated to me.
Huh?
Yes. I need
Yes.
a little more money allocated to me.
Fair enough. So we have standard weapons, is what we got at this point.
You have missiles.
We have missiles. That's probably not a bad idea.
Missiles, you have shields. That's what I've researched.
Shields are probably not a bad idea. Let me add shields to my system.
Have some money, Jordan.
Yay!
Woohoo! Alright, so I'm gonna lower the shielding because it's obnoxious being 10. I'll put down to 5. And armor, I'll reduce. We never actually game balanced the armor and everything, did we? Or the shielding, for that matter.
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna give myself a couple more missile launchers. I'll do 3. Why not? And I'll do. Oh, that got big. That got big and heavy. So I'll put that in 2. 1, maybe 2. See if I can get an extra beam on it. Can I? Oh, that makes it really big. So the original idea is we're going to limit it to 300, so I'm at 291. So yeah. So I'm going to do save. My foreign policy. Oh, you have a builder bot. That's not going anywhere.
Oh, yeah, this is the building.
But I should be able to do this anyway. Actually, because I don't have enough money. Oh gods, do I so do not have enough money. Well, my really happy, nice design, yeah, needs 3,500. I got like 1,400.
I'm gonna build some more economy in a minute.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. That's probably why I shouldn't put shielding on, but that's the way it goes. That gets a very expensive ship. Alright, well, that's just why I can't actually do that. Interestingly enough, I can see our stuff trying to grab stuff out of the warehouse, and it looks like he's off building his own stuff over there. Let's take a peek. Let's see what he's doing. Crikey, it's an alligator. Yeah, he's just building turrets, I think. No, actually, no. I'm looking at the grid, the layout. He's actually probably trying to build.
It says my builder bot is done. Where did it go?
It's there. It's just there with trying to pull it from
No,
the warehouse.
One.
Oh, that I don't know. Actually, I don't think it's done. You sure it's done?
Oh, the only thing that's in the build queue is my foreign policy.
No, I see your builder bot still there. Scroll it right. If you try to scroll the queue right, do you see it? Do you see it pop up?
Oh.
It changed the order of it.
All I see on the to be built is my foreign policy.
All right, I do see the builder bot and my ship. I can put my ship on the opposite side, and I can put your ship on the opposite side, and then the cha-cha.
Eventually, I'll have money. Eventually, it will show up.
Yep. You're not wrong.
My money's being sucked up to build a second factory. But it's finished with that, so we'll go through soon.
Now, in a normal game, I would assume that people would be scouting out to see where the enemy was versus having it like being so
Buddy
obviously
entered your channel.
near things.
Right.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
And so the other thing I could also work on would be actually, since I finally, via some YouTube videos, figured out how to do the shadow mapping correctly, doesn't mean I can correctly do it. I got it running before. It just looked horrible. And I was not happy, so I kept messing with it, made things far worse. And then I gave up because I realized that I was spending like a week on it and I wasn't getting anywhere. And I was like, okay. So if I backtrack, to get it, I should be able to do what's called a cascading shadow map. And to explain to the audience and everybody else what the hell that is, any modern game uses multiple shadow maps for the same area. Because when you're close to something, you want to see a lot of detail in the shadow. The problem is when you have a very open world environment, especially when you're talking about a planet, you can't shadow map the planet. Hack the planet? No. But because the sun's your light source. So you have to determine what sections are you actually shadowing. And so the way they get away with it is you do what's immediately in front of the camera as one of the shadow maps. Is very high res. So it looks very pretty. Those that's further away from the camera gets a secondary shadow map, which has much less detail but covers a far greater area. and there's one that is even much further away that covers a very large area but has no resolution whatsoever, but the player doesn't see it because the two other ones take precedence. And by doing it that way, you get a nice shadowing across the landscape without sacrificing the local shadowing detail. And I was showing that to how that was being done even in another game that Matt and I were playing multiplayer the other night. I know generally how it's done, but I have to figure out. It's going to take me probably another week to implement it. I have to get back to the point where things were working again, and once I have it to that point, I should be able to implement it. But yeah, I have to figure out what I did to kind of unmess myself up. So what's holding us back right now from killing their base is, one, even though they have a factory and refinery up, they still don't have a mine up, and they're spending far much time putting up turrets and such. So we need to get things going on our side. I do kind of like the very big blinking though, because it's sort of like, okay, it looks like you're welding.
Yeah, admittedly.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. Oh, my ship's being built. I had enough money. So other people who want to go kill the enemy base, kind of now's the time to get your groove on. Although the bigger groove, honestly, would be tier 1 weaponry.
Attack enemy base, yes?
Yes.
Whee.
Admittedly, if you take out their builder bot, it's kind of over anyway, but let's see if we can actually take out their entire base with what we have been given, if that makes sense. Because, like I said, ideally you come in with a no weapon. Alright, so my first ship just came out. And I should go pick it. Let's see, Paul. Oh, up. P. Here we go. Now this was made, the shield was made by the algorithm rather than by hand, so it looks very blocky because of that. But yeah, it's certainly here. Oops, I'm wasting missiles. Okay, let's target something. Now this should be interesting. Originally, the boxes were unbelievably armored. They shouldn't be anymore. Alright. Oh, looks like someone's already at it. And then we're paused.
Yeah, I just took out one of their factories.
Okay.
Now I'm frozen.
Yes. Who? Yeah, me pausing, so that means someone else crashed out. Matt, did you crash?
Nope.
I just CTD'd.
Alright.
Anyone else free now?
Yep, we're all free.
Alright then. Should I rejoin or just hold off?
You can rejoin.
Okay.
And now I crashed.
Yep, that time I crashed.
Same thing with the substructure thing again. Something's trashing it. Break.
Weird.
It really is. This is mine. It's mine again. Did you do it or did they do it? That might be them building it, you know.
Building mines. I was building more. I told you I was going to get more economy going.
All right. Yeah, let's see who owned this. Well, it doesn't tell me who owns it. Hold on a second. Jordan.
Sounds like it.
Yep.
I had 3 builder bots running.
Yep, that's the one that ate itself.
I I don't know if this is a trick that's going to make it into the full release, but builder bots are currently produced with an internal store of refined materials
They
every
are.
time.
Yeah, they are.
And so the cheapest way to get more buildings faster sometimes is to build a new builder bot and then use that builder bot to build more buildings.
You know what that's called? That's called an exploit.
Yes, it is. I know I'm making life harder for myself by pointing it out, but
No, it needs to be addressed. You're not wrong. Yeah, well, that's
I mean,
it.
it's not an exploit if you increase the price of the builder bot to account for that internal store of refined materials.
No, it was something that should have. It was something to put into the system to handle the fact that you need an opening amount, but because it defaultly goes the same way, yeah, I should probably put code in there that says, okay, a new builder bot shouldn't come out with that.
How do you think I got the city so big so fast?
I was wondering about that actually, because I mean,
Oh yeah.
fair enough. The Spiffing Brit would be
Build a
proud of you.
builder bot, use that to build more mines and refineries, basically for free.
Yeah, I've been hearing some pretty wonky exploits in some of the other games these days.
That allows me to jumpstart our economy for free.
Yep.
We've got our first exploit. I'm so proud.
We've got our
Nice.
first exploit that isn't like ridiculous like the last one.
Yes. Okay, the
That's
server's back up again. I was on my way to go kill
Oh, I didn't
their
know it was
base.
going back in because it sounded like it was borked.
Ah, we'll find out. We'll see how borked it really is. And if it is truly borked, then I will personally take the save game and put it aside, and we'll address it on Thursday, and we'll see what's borking it. You know what I mean? Because save games that are reliably borked are save games that can be used to fix bugs.
Should I hold off on the? Hold on, being attacked.
Well, you're obviously in the game, so play the game.
Should I hold off on destroying that?
No, no. Yeah, I mean, I should probably join in to go kill things. And the ogre's here, so once we take out the enemy city, we can. I see them firing.
Yeah, one of the turrets found me.
They found him. Run for it, Marty. Oh gosh, you got a crosshair thing going on there. They're shooting at something.
Oh yeah, the mine model is twice the size, so I now know definitively that when it tries to build a mine, it's gonna break it. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah, because if it's going to bork out, then I want to know it's borking.
Okay.
Oh, there goes his. Oh no, no, I apologize. That was the builder box that went down, not it. Meaning the. My shield's held. Did it bork? No, yep, there it goes.
I just CTD'd.
Yep, there we go.
Now you actually, yeah, this was just its own thing. So you went to build a mine and it borked out.
At the moment where it reached the point where it would normally have started building, at that exact moment, it died.
All right.
So it's
Then
just before the builder beam goes out to do things.
okay.
Not when collecting materials, because the other ship was supposed to be building a mine as well, and it was still collecting materials and did not kill us.
All right. I am keeping it. Hold on. I know Ogre hopefully wants to join in. Um.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to interrupt whatever you guys are already testing.
Should I rejoin or no?
No. Yes, we're gonna get the whole thing up. We're starting from scratch. I just copied the save game off to a separate folder, so that we can deal with it on Thursday and see why that's going bad.
I think unfortunately I have to duck out just a little early. It's just about dinner time for us.
Okay, well, it's 5 o'clock. What do people wish to do? Do they wish to try again, or do they wish to end it here, or what would you like to do?
I think this is a decent place to stop.
I'd have to have it in like half an hour anyway, so.
Ogre? I know you just got in, but
I can wait for 2 weeks to do it again.
fair enough. All right, then we'll cut it here then. Um, all right. Well, I will say that I think the engine flare stuff was a resounding success. If that was the one that's causing the problem. And yeah, we'll see everybody in 2 weeks, and hopefully we'll have these other issues resolved and more stuff, which will probably more on the nav screen stuff, probably rather than visual stuff, but we'll see. And I'll see everybody in 2 weeks, and it'll be a new year, so happy New Year's, and I'll see you in 2021. Have a good holiday, all.
Bye bye.
Then.